Hello, everyone. My name is Josselyn Marroquin, and today I'm going to be presenting for the Senior University Honors project. My title for the presentation is going to be Answering Theoretical and Applied Questions by Replicating Lindsay and Johnson 1989 article. Before we get started, I would like to give a few acknowledgements. First, to my faculty advisor, Dr. David Gerkens. Second, to Dr. Sandra Perez, which both have been extremely supportive during the times that I've been conducting this experiment or project. Also to the McNair Scholars Program and to the University Honors Program. The table of contents is going to be consisted of first asking what is the replication crisis in psychology, second looking at problems in research, third the solutions to the replication crisis, fourth the misinformation effect, and fifth our present study. The replication crisis in psychology is a methodological crisis in which researchers find it difficult to replicate or reproduce the exact outcomes of an original study, especially for highly cited studies. Replication in a scientific setting refers to a repetition of an experiment to test the variables used to get the same results from the original experiment. Social psychologist Dr. Nozick teamed up with 269 co-authors to investigate this phenomenon for three well-known psychology journals, in which 39 out of 100 studies were actually successful. From his results, scientists became more aware of this crisis, and the failure to replicate these findings counts as a crisis because replicating is a way to check how accurate results are to the original study. If these results do not achieve exact or similar results to the original study, the validity becomes low and cannot be generalized to the larger population. Now we're going to be looking at a few statistics that we got Nature, which is a article where they talk about this methodological crisis. So here we're looking at if there is a reproducibility crisis. They asked 1,576 researchers, in which 52 said there's a significant crisis, 38 said slight, 7 said they don't know, and 3 said there's none. Then they're also asked if they've ever established a procedure for reproducibility. 34 said no, which is extremely alarming. The next questions that they were asked is what factors contribute to the irreproducible research? And this has to do with selective reporting, pressure to publish, low statistical power or pro-analysis, not replicated enough in original labs, and so forth. This is in red for always or often contribute, and the pink is for sometimes or contribute. The other question they asked was what factors could possibly boost reproducibility? So in other words, what is the solution? And in dark blue, you see that it says very likely, and in the light blue, it means likely. So they're asking if there's better understanding of statistics, would that help? Better mentoring, robust design, incentives for formal reproduction, and so forth. Now we're going to be looking at problems in research. So although this methodological crisis is essential to research and scientists are becoming more aware, researchers are incentivized to publish innovative studies over replication studies. And so journals prefer to publish compelling, original, and significant findings, which pressures researchers into publishing innovative and positive work, which is why it's unlikely for researchers to pursue replication studies that would limit their job prospects and promotions. So we're going to be looking at publication bias. The university researchers often go through high pressures to publish new and innovative work. This pressure comes in job promotions, their departmental positions, and publishing companies. And this strain ends up making them publish in great quantities. And this may lead to publication bias, which is when they choose for ideal findings such as significant results that are preferred over insignificant results. When findings are non-significant, researchers put away their findings not shared with others, and this is known as a file drawer problem. Then we're going to be focusing on the type 1 error. which is something that has to do with publication bias. So type 1 error is an error within statistics that shows false positive results, which is when the results show something to be true when in actuality it is false. When false positive results are published, they can have negative effects because false positives become a problem when researchers find more false evidence of an effect existing than finding evidence of the effect not existing. So, in other words, it's like negative or inconclusive studies are not published, and they can refer to finding no statistical significance or finding contrary results to previous research or what the researcher expected. Now, we're going to be looking at what p-hacking is. So, researchers manipulate the results and create inaccurate data, which they do in order to skew the original study's actual results. So, as a result, researchers publish positive and significant results instead of negative or statistically insignificant results. P-hacking is the process of manipulating statistical analyses and the degrees of freedom until the results are below the p less than 0.05 level of statistical significance. And as you can see right here, we have a form of picture that's asking, should I publish negative results or does this ruin my career in science? And this is one of the questions that many researchers have because they are most likely trying to publish significant findings. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at the solutions to the replication crisis in psychology. So, in response to the replication crisis in psychology, researchers are discussing many solutions. For example, Dr. Nozick created the Center for Open Science to conduct research and share their previous, current, and future projects online. Open Science, which is shown on your right, gives you access to many forms of resources. It gives you educational resources, pre-registration, open data, open access, open materials, and citizen science. Lastly, we have pre-registration, which is used for researchers to submit their hypotheses, methods, data collection, and analysis plans to a third party prior to starting the experiment. Doing so, it reduces biases and decreases the reproducibility crisis by preventing researchers from manipulating their results when the study is complete. Okay, now we're going to move on to the misinformation effect. So the misinformation effect is a cognitive psychology term used to explain how impairment occurs in memory for past events where post-event information distorts the memory of the actual event. For example, new information about a previous event can alter memories by creating false memories to fill in gaps if they cannot remember or add additional information. The misinformation effect can lead to false memories filled with inaccurate information about such events. And the misinformation effect has been focused in eyewitness memory. So it has been studied in eyewitness memories, so psychology and law. And the misinformation effect is pretty much understanding how human memory works and how essential it is in describing how an eyewitness is able to pick a suspect. So memory first acts as a form of encode. So it gathers information, then it stores the information, and then it retrieves it whenever it is asked to be accessed. Um, as people find out, memory is not securely stored because the memory is either gone, reconstructed, or people start filling in details about an event. And so by the time an eyewitness retraces their memory about an event, their biochemical representation of something has deteriorated, which can become corrupted from the many revisions the eyewitness had to recall of an event. In other words, the eyewitness creates a memory of the crime, and when asked to retrieve it for the first time, it would already be altered or changed, and this will occur each time that they are asked to recall the memory of the event. And so now we're going to be looking at Lindsay and Palmer's 1974 experiment. And so pretty much they asked participants how fast the cars were going when they smashed into each other. And this verb was actually replaced with four other verbs, which was collided, bumped, contacted, and hit. A week later, researchers asked the participants if they saw broken glass and how fast the cars were going when the accident occurred. The results showed that researchers asked participants how fast the cars were going when they smashed, and as a result, they were more likely to say that they saw broken glass, even though there was none. These results were only true for participants who had inflated estimates of speed. And so Loftus and Palmer showed how suggestibility could occur depending on how questions are asked about an event and automatically reconstruct memory. Okay. And so now we're going to be moving on to the present study, which is the study that I have been working on for a few months now. So Lindsay and Johnson 1989 article focuses on suggestibility and the misinformation effect. And so they further researched eyewitness suggestibility and memory sources in order to understand the topics and their relationship. In their study, they hypothesized that eyewitness suggestibility failed to show how people discriminate various sources of memory. In their experiment, they asked their participants to watch a slide. Then they were asked to interpret that slide, and then afterwards they were given a test. The way that we are conducting this experiment is by doing the following tasks. So first they're going to watch this video. And pretty much the video is of a lady who is cleaning up an area of the desk. And the participants are going to be looking at this video. After that, they're going to write an interpretation of the video. Then participants are going to be given an interpretation of the video. So it's going to be a text, and the text is either going to be original to what was seen in the scene, or it's going to be an altered interpretation, which is going to be pretty much like, say, for example, there was hand sanitizer. Okay, now in the altered interpretation, there's no hand sanitizer. So after that, they're going to write a 2-minute interpretation of the video. And lastly, they're going to be tested on what they just saw. And so before I get into that, I would like to mention that they are asked to write another interpretation of the video, only to make sure that we can verify that the interpretation either altered or did not alter their first original memory of the first video. So after that's done, they're given either a source monitoring test, which is when they have to choose what source their information comes from. Did they see the information from or the object from the text, the video, neither, or both? And then other participants are given a yes, no recognition test, which is yes, I remember watching or seeing this object, or no, I do not remember this object. Okay. And so now we're going to move on to what we call the conclusion. And so pretty much we are going to be focusing in this research study to investigate the replication crisis in psychology and to further investigate this phenomenon. We are currently in the process of collecting data from our survey and hope to find similar results as Lindsay and Johnson. With our research, we hope to spread the importance of conducting research with careful consideration to how data is gathered, analyzed, and interpreted in order to have accurate research published. Okay, and then here are my references in case you are interested in learning more about this research. And lastly, my email is jossmarroquin@csu.fullerton.edu. You're more than welcome to email me if you have any questions or comments. And thank you so much for your time. And that is all.